decided to do some late afternoon exploring around the Keys, do some swimming around some of the local spots and maybe look for some shells, see what we can find, but just to spend some time on the water together. It is the July 4th holiday weekend coming up. Today's Thursday and July 4th is on Saturday, so kind of trying to avoid going out on the water over the weekend just because it'll be really busy, but didn't have a super long day at work today, so let's spend the evening on the boat together. Made it to our spot, and today I'm going to be trying out some new leggings that Dean got me.
Those are not leggings.
Not leggings. New dive socks from Waterlust. I have the lionfish leggings already, so I'm excited. And it's now summertime, so I don't really have to wear like neoprene dive socks anymore, so we still want to keep our feet clear of any blisters. And welcome underwater. Today we are swimming around the Newfound Harbour area, which is quite close to shore and Big Pine area. And here in the Keys we are experiencing currently a bleaching warning, which means that we have now reached that bleaching threshold for our corals. So I was trying to take the opportunity today to look around and do a bleach watch assessment of the reefs. You can see underneath this coral head is a little king crab, I believe. So while this spot didn't really have too much hard coral, we still had a lot of shells and little urchins and things like that. So I'm kind of just looking around. Right here under this rock there was also a sea sponge that was detached, and that was kind of interesting to see. But still had quite a bit of hard coral here. Today I'm filming on the Insta360 X5 camera, which has been one of my superpowers or my magical tools for filming underwater. It has an amazing white balance, so you get really crystal clear videos. And since it's a 360 camera, it does film in all directions. So even if I'm filming myself, I'm also filming in front of me and all around, so I can change all of that in post-production to show what I want to show. So sometimes the seagrass also can hide some interesting shells and grazes and things like that, and often around these rocks or small coral heads you can find shells that crabs have collected. So here I found this kind of murex looking shell, small one, but somebody was home, so I do not take any shells that have anything living inside of it, and I always make sure to check my shells before I bring them up back to the boat. And this here was a crab carapace, probably a molt from a crab nearby. You find all kinds of interesting treasures in these softer bottom environments, so even though we aren't at the reef or anything, I still find a lot of joy in looking for the small things. A very common thing to find in the Keys here are these sea biscuits, which are exoskeletons of a once living organism, which is what I'm touching here. They usually bury themselves in the sand, and they're a chunkier version of a sand dollar essentially. But when they die, they leave their shells behind, which are those white things. Kind of similar to urchins and sea stars. Here I found an urchin exoskeleton as well. And that you usually find the pieces of their exoskeleton above the sand. And this is a baby clam, which I thought was really cute. It was still attached in the center. You never know what you're going to find in these environments. We did find a ton of sea biscuits today, which are always fun, but I do have quite a few, so I don't usually keep them. And then Dean actually found this queen conch and pointed it out to me. And queen conchs here in the Keys are also a protected animal. This one fortunately was not alive, so the queen conch had already died, and they have the most beautiful and large shells down here, and they're absolutely stunning. So you are allowed to take the actual shell itself, barring that there is nothing that has taken over the shell, like a hermit crab or anything, which you'll often find. And you also may be wondering what the sound is in the background, and that is actually Dean playing with his electric scooter. You can see hanging from his wrist here. And he also found a second one for me. This one was not as clean on the inside. As you guys know, I do like to clean my shells once I get them back, because they look really sandy and they smell quite a bit when you bring them back, so I do like to clean them in a acid mixture and bleach.
Go look at the juices.
Yeah.
Back in we go to our second spot of the day. We could see really clearly from the surface that there was a lot of life and hard corals here. And right as we got in, I did notice that this colony here had some pretty significant disease. Usually it is bacterial or viral. So whenever I see corals that have some kind of disease, like this one, you can see that the disease is eating away at the tissue or the top level of the coral. I do submit a bleach watch report, which includes any presence of bleaching or disease. So moving on, I did also see a pretty big queen conch shell right next to this rock here, which was very exciting. Make sure to be very careful when I pick it up. And this one did have a hermit crab, I believe, living inside of it. So even though the queen conch has died, some of our shells provide another home for crabs and things like that to live inside of them. So we made sure to put that one back. But the spot was really, really beautiful. And I even found another baby conch that had another crab living inside of it, which is really cool. And right, you can see there was also a little pin, which I didn't notice at the beginning, but looking back now, this site actually had a few coral outplants on it. Found another kind of conch. I'm not entirely sure what that one was, but I believe there was something living inside of it, so I definitely don't want to take it if it's someone's home. But I just find it so fun to swim around weightless in the water looking for things. This next clip here, there's a lot of fish that were hanging around Dean, which was really cool. I think these are all baby barjacks or something. And then right after that, Dean actually found the queen conch himself, and there was also a barracuda to the top of this clip. But he's so sweet, he didn't even look at it. He wanted me to get the first look. And this one did not look like it had anything living inside of it, but we did not keep it. And then I believe this shell here is a hawkwing conch. You don't really see a lot of those, especially live ones. I mostly find the shells. They're always exciting to find, so I did keep this one. And here are all those outplants I was talking about earlier. So I just noticed them. I didn't see the pin, which usually marks the perimeter to where certain coral practitioners are able to outplant their corals, but these ones looked pretty good. We had some bouldering corals, some brain corals, and they looked pretty healthy even despite the bleaching warning that we are in right now. So always really nice to see the corals doing well. And then we found dolphins! This one swam right past us and we had no idea. I heard it breathing and I looked down and I see one swimming right by us. And then there were a couple that were a little bit further away that we didn't see underwater, but we could see from the surface, and that was really, really exciting and such a surprise. And just after that we also found a stingray. This one I believe is a southern stingray. It was a female. And it just kept getting better. We saw this really big school of squid, and I have never seen so many squid schooled up like this. This was truly incredible. You usually see a couple of them, but it's kind of rare to see this many schooling, and they let us get right up to them, and they didn't even ink at us. But I just found it amazing to see them all like this. And there were a couple lionfish throughout the day. Dean did have his little pole spear, so we make sure to do our due diligence to get them down here since they are an invasive species. We've made quite a few videos on catch, cleans, and cooks of these, and this one was quite large, and we did kind of try to feed it to this moray eel that was hiding out in a rock nearby, but he did not want anything to do with it. He comes out here and has a little smell and decides that he is not interested. So we put this one back onto the boat. And I did find another one here on this really big coral head. Really beautiful mountainous star coral. And lionfish are pretty damaging to the environment. Oh, there's also a little lobster hiding out in this coral head too. And lionfish are pretty detrimental because they eat lots of juvenile fish, and since they are invasive, we don't have any natural predators that will eat them to control their population densities. And here I also found another small conch. I think this one was also a hawkswing, which is very exciting. And unfortunately, when I have my 360 camera in the case, it doesn't take sound very well, but here I'm saying that we got some dinner. We got Taco Express. If you know, you know. Such good Mexican food. We brought our little cooler along with us, and I had to have some non-alcoholic beer, of course. And then we got back into the water, and here I found two shells actually right next to each other. This one is a baby queen conch, and this other one here is also some kind of, I think it also is a juvenile queen conch. And I also found a piece of a clam of some kind. Love to do my bubble rings. Did a pretty perfect one here, which I was very proud of. Trying to show Dean. And that's going to be all for our video today. Thank you for tuning in. We hope that you enjoyed doing some exploring with us. We got to catch a beautiful sunset on the way home.